Everybody, welcome in. We called it. We've got Phil Ken Call, and myself, Connor Lucas, joining you every week. We had a pretty good week last week. Well, 2 out of 3 of us winning records. To be fair, Ken tried his best. He normally does. He is not doing so very well this year so far. However, I, Connor Lucas, was 3-2 last week. So if you bet all my picks, you won money. Phil, I think you also made some money last week. Does that sound right?
Yep. Bank account's slightly bigger.
Point being, 2 out of 3 of us every week are going to win you money. Don't pick the wrong one. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyways, got a good show for you guys this week. As usual, we take our viewers very seriously. We have a request in. Phil's going to give us our first topic for discussion today from one of our listeners, Nate. Does that sound right?
That is correct. Nate reached out to me and asked, it was a fantasy football related question. How do we feel Baker Mayfield is impacting the Panthers, receiving options, Christian McCaffrey, the whole offense in general? And then I thought it'd be good, maybe we could just apply that idea in general to all the other teams and say, hey, what teams have been overperforming, underperforming, and where are you moving in fantasy? Or, starting to fade or panic for some of the, teams that are struggling. Or maybe you're excited for some of the teams that are looking better.
All right.
Wow, hey, Connor, that was a great intro. No, let's take a second. Hey, man, I'm excited to be here today. Wow.
Off the cuff, Ken. Our listeners.
For the record, there is nothing here that is scripted. It is all off the cuff. We're coming hot.
That's correct. By the way, we can skip the part that everyone knows Ken's a doctor. Everyone knows Phil's a nerd. Everyone knows I played football in college. Great, good. Move on. We're moving off that. If you don't know, now you know.
We're trying to shorten the intro by giving a long explanation of why we're shortening the intro. All right, anyways, back to Baker Mayfield blowing it for the Panthers. Ken, me and Connor have done enough talking. You take this one and tell us why you're so happy Baker's not a quarterback for the Browns anymore.
Well, the number one reason is because I don't know why I did it, but I drafted DJ Moore in quite a few leagues. He dropped a little bit. I was like, wow, what a good value. Everyone else, because, I'm in a league with a bunch of people with Cleveland. They go, Baker sucks. Why did you draft DJ Moore? And you know what? They were all right. Last week, DJ Moore, 1 catch for 2 yards. He added in a decent amount of rushing for that to make his day just regularly miserable. But he's a wide receiver. Now, 6 targets. He leads the team, or is nearly leading the team in targets most weeks. They're trying out there. But Baker, known for trying, not so much known for doing. And I will tell you what, not one person in Cleveland, no one's saying, oh man, I can't believe we didn't keep Baker and we're going with Jacoby Brissett, because Baker is not even in the conversation at this point, which is a good thing for the Cleveland Browns.
Connor, what are your thoughts on how awful Baker is? I just love hearing it because I was on it all last year saying Baker's not good, and everyone's like, no, he's hurt, blah, 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 blah. No, Baker's not a good quarterback. So I just love hearing it over and over.
Pretty sure Baker, I think, is number 32 in QBR this year already through the first 3 games. I think he's number 32.
Is that in front of or behind Justin Fields?
So I think Justin Fields is 33, and there's 32 NFL teams, so that means he's behind Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. I also saw that. So fun fact for all of our listeners. Don't pick anybody on the Bears or the Carolina Panthers. So it just blows my mind how we used to think that OBJ was crazy. Oh my goodness, he's going after Baker. Baker's a good, a hard-nosed, really gives effort type of quarterback. He's what Cleveland needs. I don't know if OBJ was right or not, but he is looking smarter and smarter every single week. I saw this funny picture of somebody was like, hey, OBJ's dad's working with DJ Moore's dads to get a video of all the times that Baker's overthrown DJ Moore so he can get traded. I mean, It's bad because DJ Moore has been a borderline he has been a wide receiver one in fantasy one and two. He's done it despite crappy quarterbacks, and everyone thought he got an upgrade, and he got worse. So my prediction is for the rest of the year, DJ Moore may come back to be a fringe 3 player as a wide receiver 3, but the rest of that offense, it's going to be like Saquon last year and the year before on the Giants. It's going to be CMC is the only fantasy viable person, and even then, CMC has 2 catches over the last 2 games. He's not even getting the ball to Christian McCaffrey in the passing game. We've been on here on record saying Christian McCaffrey is one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver out of the backfield in the last 5 to 10 years. Crazy. Also, that was a tweet about how bad the Bears are. So the whole part about Justin Fields, that was all tying back to Justin Fields makes the Bears even worse. There you go.
So, here's the big question. 1, does Baker get pulled for Sam Darnold? And 2, would that actually be a reason to hold on to DJ Moore for kind of upside value? I know Darnold might not be a better football player, but from a fantasy perspective, when he started last year, he got DJ Moore. DJ Moore was fairly productive.
You're benching him. You're not dropping him,
okay.
And you can't trade him because nobody's going to be buying. So you can bench him, hope, and then I would almost say once he has a good game, see if you can get some trade value out of him. But bench him, don't drop him. Take a flyer on a waiver wire, Matt Collins or something like that.
All right, then. So let's generalize this, open it up. Other teams that have been, looking good, disappointing. You have the Raiders, the Chargers, Philly, all teams that have probably, above or below expectations. Any thoughts on teams that shocking you that maybe you want to buy into, go try to pick up a player from or something? Or even be like, hey, these guys let me down.
2 things come to mind with that one. One is a very obvious one, but guys, Jalen Hurts can throw the ball. I don't know how long it's going to last for, but his receivers are actually producing. Yes, he has not played that much talent, but at the same time, he has looked good. I really like A.J. Brown. The names really, I want to talk about him, and then Dallas Goedert. I mean, it's a tight end wasteland. But Goddard's a big part of that game, even if they're not throwing for high volume at that dink and dunk that has made Hurts. Really what he's been known for besides his running. But that offense is pretty legit. We'll see if we can keep it up. Jalen Hurts. I don't know how long, but I gotta tell you, so far so good. I'll let you guys talk about the other one, but you guys aren't going to talk about the Lions at all.
Our team?
We're not going to talk about the team. We talk about every week and hype and get excited for because they are 3-0, baby. Against the spread is what we count here. They are 3-0.
Did we pick them this week? Nobody picked them this week because they're the favorite.
You can't pick the favorite underdog team for the year and then pick them when they're favored. It doesn't make sense. I do have their over. Spoiler alert. All right, Connor, any teams? Breaking your heart?
5 teams. There's about 5 teams. I would buy the dip on Tampa. I would buy the dip on Denver. I would totally butcher everything for the Bears. We're talking borderline drop. Those guys, borderline droppable. Everybody on that team is benchable. Khalil is the only one, and even then, when he comes back, guess what's going to happen? They're going to split the carries. So you're going to split the carries in a terrible offense between Herbert and Monty. And so now I'm like, man, that makes nothing viable in the Bears offense. I think that Denver and Las Vegas, I think all of them figure it out because the difference between them and the Bears or Carolina is they have loads of top tier talent all across the board. You have potentially the best wide receiver, arguably outside of Cooper Kupp. Actually, it's 1A, 1B, Las Vegas. You're going to find ways to use him. You are 2 Waller drops away from winning that game last week. By the way, Darren Waller had like 6 points, dropped 2 touchdowns in the end zone. One of them was a tip interception. Then I just think Russ and Hackett will figure it out. I think they are just abysmal right now.
Russ and Hackett?
Maybe just Russ. Maybe just Russ. But I think Russ figures it out because the last drive they are 2-1. How? Their defense, and because at the end of games, like for whatever it is, 55 minutes out of the 60 minutes, they're like, hey, we want you to fit into Hackett's offense for the last 5 minutes when we actually want to win the game. Just do whatever. And then he wins. So, those guys I'm buying. Tampa Bay gets healthy.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, I mean, that's an easy one. Tom Brady, you get and all those weapons. The 2 teams I'm surprised, one you didn't mention, Cincinnati. I lost my button from previous Super Bowl run, but I still have this written down just so people know. I believe in Joe Burrow. We love T. Higgins. Well, 2/3 of us love T. Higgins. They've been
Ian Connor, yeah.
They've been disappointing so far, and I think they're gonna click, find it more. The offensive line's gonna get it together a lot more. They have a very average offensive line, and as the year goes on, offensive line play typically improves. But then San Fran, I'm surprised you guys aren't talking about how they're a buy low candidate. Their quarterback didn't practice with them all off season currently, and he's out of shape. He didn't even have the playbook or anything. And last year, San Fran had Deebo Samuel was fantastic. George Kittle, when he was on the field, was fantastic. Brandon Ayuk ended the year really well, and they had a viable running back. You're talking like 4, skill positions that came out good from that offense. So if you can, sneak away San Fran after this week because another spoiler alert, Rams are going to beat them down.
So I
get a big...
Oh, Ken, hold your horses here. Hold your horses.
Sorry.
I saw an interesting thread that Jimmy G and Shanahan are going to have problems all year long because they are like openly. It is obvious in the locker room that they do not like each other. Like when they were sucking last week, he screamed back into his microphone or whatever it is, or up to Shanahan. He said, "Your effing plays suck." Like to Shanahan. And you got to remember, this dude tried to sell you an entire offseason. He tried to get rid of you.
For the record, this is the second offseason in a row. It's not like, oh, sorry, we were wrong. You made the NFC Championship. We tried to do that. And then even when you were good, we said, get out.
And I just had to throw that out there. I'm not in on San Fran.
I love San Fran. I love their receiving core. I know we've talked about it too much, but man, I worry about how they're going to do without Trent Williams. I'm not convinced that Jeff Wilson's super good, but Trent Williams, best left tackle in the game, and after he went out, like their offense couldn't move. Jimmy G, it's only going to get better because that game was pitiful. That is the worst game outside of Justin Fields that we've seen all year.
What would you send in our group chat? The Blue Mountain State?
I was going to say it, but I didn't get any response. I didn't know. If you guys have ever seen Blue Mountain State, it was like the scene where Thad Castle sandbags a concussion test, gets a 3 out of 50, only needs to do better than that to pass, and he got a 2 out of 50. And that was pretty much watching Jimmy G on Sunday. It was miserable. He's the only guy to ever get bailed out by a safety because he threw a pick 6, but he stepped out first.
It sounds like you subscribed to Carson Wentz play. Like there's been so many borderlines.
Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah.
Dan Orlovsky immediately tweets. He's like, "Freedom! I'm not the only one."
The funny thing is, like, you see the butt punt last week for Miami, and you think, man, that's got to be the worst play, like, to happen to any team. But then it's like, no. Jimmy G really stunk it up on, for 5
Going
seconds.
over.
Ooh, that reminds me. I saw some. Bear with me on this. Miami is a butt punt somehow fixed. They somehow came back and won despite a butt punt, and they were a miraculous comeback away from being 1-2. Where they're 3-0 right now. So it's more or less, do you buy into that? I thought that was actually pretty good. They overcame a butt punt and being down by 25. How many times can you continue to do that? I don't know.
Do you know the yardage difference in that game? Because I heard it and I was astounded.
1 billion to 0.
Buffalo Bills, 497 yards of offense. Miami, 212.
See, that's where I would maybe hint maybe take Cincy this week.
Spoilers. We have it written on the board. What's gonna happen? What was I gonna say for Miami? I don't know. It's all gone. Oh no, they're the inverse of Denver. All they do is play well at the right moment, and that I think that's coaching. And hats off to rookie head coach Mike McDaniel compared to Nathaniel Hackett, who blows any situational football while the Dolphins come out and clutch out game after game.
Oh, real quick, listen to this trade that got rejected in a PPR league. Jamar Chase for Jalen Waddle, CEH, and Chase Edmonds. I tried really hard to get Jamar Chase, and they said no.
You know what you should do? Keep Edmonds, take the other two guys, and trade them for T. Higgins.
Trust me.
You'll get Cincinnati's real number one receiver.
Don't worry about that one.
All right,
we got to move on.
I was gonna say, we ready to start doing our game picks? We've been rambling long enough. I guess I was gonna say, any other teams that we are low on? I'm trying to think. Oh, Arizona. That was the one I wanted to mention. Arizona is hot trash. We talked about Green Bay being hot trash earlier, but Arizona is a big letdown, and I was looking forward to Nuke Hopkins' return. I no longer am. So, all right, let's get to it. Connor, you can lead off. By the way, I need to get a good intro button for this, but I'm going to call this segment from now on Calling Our Shots. Do you get it? Because we called it, and it's Calling Our Shots.
Are you the CEO? You make all the big decisions?
This technically is owned by Philcorp LLC.
Nice. Okay. All right.
So I fronted the money to buy the LLC rights.
You have 51% ownership then.
Yeah. Ken is all the way down there at 10. You can have whatever remains.
Okay. I'll take it.
Our math magician over here. Thank you.
The smash play of the week, gentlemen. The smash play. Jacksonville Jaguars. Actually, that wasn't even my one, but I actually like 2 picks here. 2 picks in this game. It's the smash play. There's 3 smash plays out of my 5 picks, if you're wondering.
No. They are all smash plays.
2 in the same game. If I had to bet who's covering this week, there's 2. Jacksonville and Kansas City. Jacksonville is going to be playing Philly, and I'm also taking the under in that game because there's going to be weather problems. I think clock is going to run a lot. Everyone's going to run. Surprisingly, to our dismay, Jacksonville can run the football with 2 people, James Robinson, miraculously, and Travis Etienne. And they actually held the Chargers last week to 10 points. That's pretty good. I think that this clock is going to run. Philly has no issues at all running the ball. I think they'll let the clock run. Hurts will run his read option. Don't think they throw. I think weather is an impact. It does open up and they can pass. I think that's fine. That helps out Jacksonville. But I'm taking Jacksonville plus 6.5 and under 47. And my other smash play of the week, by the way, my other smash is Kansas City -1. I don't know the stats. I'm sure they would probably lead to Andy Reid crushing it after he loses, especially watching Patrick Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy fight on the sidelines before at halftime.
What
Which, by the
about-
way, Patrick Mahomes ended up being right.
What about Tom Brady after a loss? He's pretty good too.
Yeah, but Tom Brady also has like a makeshift offensive line, and I would go ahead and I would say that Kansas City's rush is going to get to him. Godwin, Julio, they both practiced this week, but I'm not convinced that either of them will be like 100%. Mike Evans will be fine. I actually think this will be a higher scoring game than people think. Tampa's defense is sweet, but I think Andy Reid, offense to me still always wins out in this league now. I think offense wins out. So I think Kansas City wins, and this is pretty much an out. This is more or less a pick'em game, and I'm picking Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City did everything they could to lose last week too. Yeah. There was a lot that went against them. I mean, they had the game won, and then Chris Jones taunted and got 15 yards for it. So
I mean, I think Kansas City in a pick'em. Yeah, I'll take Kansas City right now. You ask me 2 weeks from now when Tom's back and got everybody clicking and ready to roll, and Julio Jones is at 65% playing.
Julio Jones doesn't play at 65. He plays at 90 or nothing. That's why he's always out.
Yeah. So you get 2 smash plays this week, audience.
All right, Ken. Do you want to have 2 smash plays too? Because Connor actually listed 5 bets there.
3, 5.
No, unfortunately,
they're both odd. Go ahead, Ken.
Fortunately, I can't because a lot of my bets are the exact same as Phil's this week because he copied me again.
It sounds like you're chasing the only person with a positive win-loss on our picks so far to date in the year.
It's sounding like you should be less confident with your bets, Phil. You're chasing me.
Sounds like, by the way, listeners, for your reminder, last year it took us 4 weeks to figure it out, and then we were 55 plus for the rest of the year.
Yeah, after the first 3 weeks, we were absolute money, and by that I mean 55, 60%. So
yeah.
So my crush play, or the game I like the best, Rams versus 49ers, and I'm taking the Rams. I think the Rams are still being downplayed a ton based off of everybody watching them get whooped by Buffalo week 1. Their defense has looked real good, but my big thing I mentioned earlier is I do not trust San Fran without Trent Williams. I think that Jimmy G, he was looking real fresh out there, and unfortunately was not look game ready. I love Debo, love watching him play, but man, there's just too many big names on the other end. I mean, if Aaron Donald's always coming up the middle, if they can get a good pass rush from the outside without their star left tackle in, then I think that this Rams defense is just too much for this 49ers offense. So, yes, the 49ers defense has looked like pure money, but Cooper Kupp's on the other side. Yes, Matt Stafford is going to throw an interception, and that might go for a touchdown. But I do think that overall they'll be able to put up more and cover that 1.5 points.
Yeah. So I'm with you on the Rams. The thing the Rams, I think, get bad rap for playing very poorly offensively in the second half when they're trying to run the clock with Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers. They didn't work against Atlanta. It didn't work last week. They have a terrible offensive line right now. They need to figure some things out. But in the first half, they look fantastic when they're still featuring Cooper Kupp in the game. So I am not worried. If it's a closer game, then I think the Rams offense stays aggressive. And if they pull away, like Ken said, the defense is there to just stop San Fran. We're going to move over to my pick of the week, or smash play of the week. It's going to be Arizona plus 1.5 versus Carolina. I know I mentioned I'm lower on Arizona for fantasy reasons, and they haven't looked good recently besides when Kyler Murray just went beast, not even beast mode, little flash mode and ran all around the Raiders. But they are underdogs against the Panthers, who are just awful. How are they underdogs against these guys? I don't get it. The Panthers haven't looked good at all. But even last week against the Saints, they needed a phenomenal catch and run for a touchdown by the old Jaguar. What's his name? Laviska Shenault. And then they had a strip sack to score their touchdowns. Baker Mayfield just looks terrible. They don't move the ball well. I saw a fun stat. It's like they're number one in pass neutral situations, so they run the most pass plays like on 1st and 10. But they also have the ball for the lowest time of possession. So they're coming out and they're being aggressive, and it's 3 downs and off the field. I don't think their defense can play that long. And I think the Cardinals will just find a way to make things work. The Hollywood Brown connection showed up last week. Hopefully that carries over into this game. I just think Arizona is, I think, a league average team right now, and Carolina is clearly an awful team. So give me a 1.5, and I'm very happy in this game. Connor, I guess you can go with any of your other picks.
Fun fact. Ken and I picked Arizona first, but Phil decided that he would jump in here.
Fun fact, I had our Google Sheets filled out before them because I'm the one that updates the spread, so they didn't even see my picks. Well, they saw my picks.
We talked about it.
It's fine.
You guys had your own text channel.
Fine. Take whatever you want. So if anybody's wondering, my only other pick this week, which I was first, and I also picked Cleveland last week, and I won. So, actually, was it last week or the week before? I picked Cleveland. I'm 1-0 with Cleveland this year, so I'm also going to take Cleveland again. I'm going to take... this is an indictment against Atlanta and Arthur Smith. I think this guy should be fired immediately. I think that he is not a good offensive coach, and he was billed as an offensive coach. He has a benefit of having Derrick Henry for basically making him a head coach, and thinking that he had one good year with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. And by the way, I'm pretty sure they lost in the playoffs in the first round that year when he got his great, like, oh man, Arthur Smith is a great offensive coordinator. No, you're not. And he doesn't have any of those same things in Atlanta. And I mean, what? I think they're getting the benefit here as, only a 1.5 point underdog for Cleveland because they were a special teams play from away from, or covering, whatever it was, the spread versus the Rams a couple weeks ago. Otherwise, they get blown out there, too. I am all out on the Arthur Smith train. He finally just listened to people about getting the ball to a generational talent. And yeah, usually I'm not in on, the whole generational talent thing. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Kyle Pitts is for real. But you just got to, get him the ball. Side note, think about guys that, are the best offensive minds. If you're billed as an offensive mind. Daniels. McVay, they literally... Okay, even whoever the offensive coordinator is for Sirianni, for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you commit to somebody, and you commit to an offense, hey, we're getting the ball to this guy. He should be built around... Our offense should be built around him. You just find ways to do it. Arthur Smith got asked about that and was like, yeah, look, we're not playing fantasy football. Yeah, well, you're not looking to play also to win the game either if you're like, yeah, that guy's really good. I want him to block a lot. Okay. Arthur Smith, you should be fired immediately. Cleveland, -1.5. Yeah, you guys aren't even saying anything. You're like, oh, we were Cleveland fans. Yeah, whatever.
Well, I mean, it was so elegant the way you put all that. How could we add anything?
Side note, I picked it first. You guys followed me.
I will say, we are currently 4-0 when all three of us agree on a pick, and that is just from the quick review I did on last old sheets. So I have no idea if that's even correct, but I'm at 4-0.
Recently.
Yeah, I'm at 4-0, and we have the Browns and Cardinals are clean sweeps. But all three of us fully agree they're both going to cover. All right. We'll go on to more of my picks.
I am a little...
Oh, go ahead. Awkward.
I was just going to say, with Jadeveon Clowney likely being out, and I heard it sounds like Myles Garrett's going to play, which is amazing because he's pretty much superhuman.
Did you see his car after? It was...
I did.
Yeah, it was completely wrecked. Both sides.
You heard everybody's cousin saying, "Oh yeah, it's a broken wrist. Oh, it's a broken arm." All this fun stuff.
I heard his eye fell out of his socket.
He's human. No, all in as long as Myles Garrett's playing.
I don't care if Myles Garrett's playing. They have.
Even if he's not, I'm in. I'm just not all in.
Atlanta's not good. I'm still picking Cleveland.
I was gonna say the number one fantasy running back in the league right now, Nick Chubb. My favorite player. No big deal.
Saquon. By the way, we called that.
I guess in standard, it's Chubb.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not debating. I'm just saying. I was looking at the stats today, and he said Chubb number one.
Just keep saying number one. It's fine.
Yeah, everyone's number one. All right. Anyways, other picks for me, since it looks like I have a lot more to talk about than you guys, because you guys shared a lot of picks. But anyways, we're gonna go back to Thursday Night Football. Once more, I believe in Joe Burrow. It's going to happen. Miami just played, their defense played like 90 snaps last week or something ridiculous. Tua got knocked to the ground, and I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know what's technically going on. He probably still can't see because he has a concussion, but they didn't diagnose it as a concussion. The Bengals have looked better. Whenever T. Higgins is on the field, he is dominant. As long as teams aren't knocking him out of the game. Speaking of concussions, and that's the dumbest rule in the NFL, where it's your toes are down, but if your heels hit,
it's for sure getting changed next year. They're gonna call it the T rule.
So by the way, think about this: sideline catches all the time. What do? You drag your toe. You're telling me, like, on the sidelines, it's different than, like, back of the end zone.
Well, it's also, if you think about it, if he caught it, if he reversed, right? So if he was falling out of bounds and caught it, and he toe tapped, he's good. But since he turned face and made a fantastic, like, grab, it's not a catch. It's stupid.
When they're explaining it, the tap versus drag, I was like, are you kidding me? If we're going to that, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Phil, by the way, the only reason I'm not with you on this pick, top 3 in pass rush win rate, Miami. Bottom 5 in pass rush block rate win rate, Bengals.
So
that's the only reason.
I'm with you, but like I said, that defense just played 70 snaps and traveled this week. So their day of rest wasn't as good. It's a short week. It's Thursday Night Football. I have some extra, skin in the game as I watch now. So just excited about that one.
Just quick injury thought on Tua. So one, if it is in fact a back injury that is so bad that your legs give out, you have lower extremity weakness with a back injury, you need to be out of the game and immediately evaluated. With that being said, they were going to test him, and I'm sure with the league really looking into it pretty well for concussion to see if he is having those issues. So long story short, if he's playing Thursday, then he's not in concussion protocol. He doesn't have a concussion. And that, people coming back from concussions after passing protocol do not have a huge drop-off in their play. If this is, in fact, a back injury, which I don't think so at all, then that absolutely will, nag and affect him, especially on a short week. So it'll be interesting to see how they faked him not having a concussion last week.
Honestly, if they're already in trouble, they're just like add it to our bill, man. Right? All right, Ken, go ahead with your next game. It'll be interesting to see Teddy Bridgewater and how much better Tua is than him.
It's not going to be interesting. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't play interesting.
No, I'm interested in the margin though between like everyone. Tua is currently on the high of 2. I guess he had the Ravens comeback win and then beating Buffalo, where he did good, but he didn't do much. So it'll be curious if Teddy can be like, oh, he's actually not very valuable. Anyways, go ahead.
So my next pick, Dallas -3. So the big one, I mentioned it very briefly last week, but I think this Dallas defense is underrated. Now, listen to this, guys. DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons are, in fact, elite pass rushing.
You're gonna give DeMarcus Lawrence elite, and you wouldn't give all right.
Oh no! I give their team elite because he's on the team with Micah Parsons. Listen, but anyways,
didn't he just say Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are elite? I feel like that was the sentence.
With their pass rush. With their pass rush. I'm not saying they're both individually elite. Phil, don't put words in my mouth. Don't listen to what I'm not saying.
DeMarcus Lawrence has a sack in one game this year. It just so happened to be against the worst offensive line.
Last week, though.
You're not listening. Micah Parsons is the second best pass rusher in the league.
He's
because the best. Oh, Myles Garrettson. Don't worry, guys. But anyways, coming off of a 5-sack performance against the Giants, where the Giants could not get anything going.
How many pressures?
We already talked.
Per Pro Football Focus, how many pressures does DeMarcus Lawrence have on the year?
He has at least 3 sacks last week.
He has 4 pressures on the year. He had 4 pressures last week. And you're not giving T. Higgins.
Micah Parsons is the best. So, my point being, they are coming off of a 5-sack performance. The Washington Commanders have given up the most sacks to Carson Wentz. And if you watched, they could not get anything going last week because Philly stifled him with the pass rush. I don't know how many sacks they had, but he was running for his life. 9. Oh, serious?
Yeah, it was 7. It was 7 or 9. It was something ridiculous.
But point being, that pass rush is coming. I think that the Dallas team overall on defense is very underrated. I think their pass rush is elite, and I think that Carson Wentz will be getting nowhere.
Ken, don't ever use the word elite in front of us again.
Hey, DeMarcus Lawrence has a toe problem. He didn't even practice today.
Yeah.
Oh,
he stubbed his toe tripping over Carson Wentz.
All right, guys, also
over Daniel Jones.
So it doesn't matter if he plays or not because it's all about Micah Parsons. Okay.
I tend to agree with you on Dallas's defense. They are underrated, but I hate them. So
I was gonna say I hate them. I was so excited to pick against them after I knew they were gonna win Monday Night Football. Right, it was Monday night.
Why didn't you pick them then? I'm the only one that bet them.
Can you just? I had 5 picks in already. All right. I said last week on the show there was a lot of games I wanted to pick, and that was one.
Pick them.
I made a mistake, and that's why I'm taking more this week. Okay. Anyways, I wanted to take them, and then I realized they're playing Carson Wentz, and I'm like, come on, why can't they play like any other team? And I would have bet them because I would have bet on the overreaction to them winning on Monday Night Football and being 2-1 or 2-0 without Dak Prescott. Look how great they are. Stupid. Anyways, my next pick, we're going out to London. We're sticking with Kirk Cousins. He cut me deep 2 weeks ago. I have him in fantasy, and I need to believe. Him and Justin Jefferson are like the cornerstone. I need that stack to pay out, and I believe in them. And I'm really betting against Jameis Winston. Jameis has looked really good when they are down 2 touchdowns and he's throwing to come back. Atlanta, he did it in week 1. Against Carolina, he was just chucking it to Chris Olave and they were making plays. It's that start of the game that's really killing him. So I think Minnesota is. They're 2-1. I don't know how they beat the Lions last week because I thought they looked awful. But I still believe in them to start to figure things out. Most importantly, Kevin O'Connell, feed Justin Jefferson, please. It's not just for me for fantasy reasons. It's because it will help your offense. Look what you did in week 1. Just what? You don't like Justin Jefferson?
O'Connell, I was like, man, this guy's awesome in week 1. And then he turned into Arthur Smith and was like, yeah.
The Lions have the 2 worst starting corners in the NFL right now.
I don't know about that. Jeff Okudah actually came out and, in one-on-one coverage, has had really good PFF grades for sticking with those guys. Look it up. Go look at Jeff Okudah. It's not because I'm a Buckeye homer. It's because Jeff Okudah actually is starting to come out with one-on-one. Now, He doesn't travel yet. We're talking one-on-one situations where he just happens to have Jefferson or happens to have Brown on him and he locks him up. That's a big difference because I don't know if that would equal out for a full game because if he travels, now you guys see Jefferson the whole game. Now you guys see Brown the whole game. I don't know if that works out, but you watch your mouth, Phil. You just watch it. By the way, viewers, I'm picking the Rams this week. We're going 3-0 again on our multi picks. I wanted it. They convinced me. I'll admit it. Ken and Phil convinced me on the Rams.
We didn't convince you. Said you were leaning it. We didn't convince you. We pushed you over the edge. You were there.
Anyways,
we did a suicide jump together, or I don't know what's it called.
Still sucks. Kevin O'Connell better figure it out.
Anyways, let's go on. Ken, do you have anything else? Yes, you do have other things. Yeah.
I have pretty much the same as all of you guys.
Denver versus... That's what we're doing. Looks like you have Denver versus the Raiders. Hint. Or am I crazy? Is that, like, I have it written down.
No. I have the under for Denver versus Las Vegas, but it has a lot more to do with... I guess I watched that Sunday night game, and I don't think that team's going to be able to move. And the truth is, Denver has a better team talent-wise than the Raiders. I think that their defense – I'm not convinced on the Raiders' offense yet. I think that this Denver defense can definitely slow them down. I did have Vegas too, but I really hate having the favorite and the under. It's just a thing. I know.
It's a field goal game. Like – doesn't matter.
I understand. Either way, I don't like it. So I was like, okay, I'll pick one or the other. I do not think that Denver figures it out. And if they do, it'll be on the back of Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. I think they'll run it, slow down the game, and it's going to be an under. I think, and just, is it 45.5? Okay. One other place I had 47.5. That's what I had in my notes, but that's fine. It won't matter.
Dude, honestly, some of these spreads get ridiculously large, and I end up picking whatever is most like. So I look at 6 or 7 books, and I pick whatever's like the most common.
Let's see, so like picking the Raiders at -2. No, 2 points can't do that. But this 45.5 to 47.5, that's one I'm cool with. Don't worry.
Betting the Raiders to win, even though I think they're going to win. I believe in the Raiders, but not that much. Wow. So, Ken, the world of betting is with you. 80% of the bet picks are on the under in this game. 96% of the money. So, if the over hits, Vegas is going broke, baby.
So, literally, all my picks are Connor, Phil, and the world. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going over this week.
All right.
That's it.
While I'm here, I'll start pulling this up more when we do this. All right. My next pick, actually, because it matches this theme. 97% of the money agrees with me. Seahawks versus Lions. This game's going over. I know. I feel I should be just straight up picking Detroit to win because I think that's going to happen. But I just mentioned how they have 2 corners that I don't believe in still, despite the Jeff Okudah's been looking better. Yeah, it's hard to look worse than the worst corner in the NFL. That's what he was his rookie season.
I'm going to find that stat right now.
Anyways, they're going up against Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, who have actually played very well. It's just Geno Smith sucks at throwing the ball, so their stats aren't inflated by it, or aren't looking great. But I think PFF had their receiving core as like a top 10 in their latest article of like best receiving cores. And then Detroit, their offense is awesome. Now, DeAndre Swift going down put a huge stopper on them last week from winning that game. I think that was like 21-10 at some point or something. And Minnesota, or 21-7, and Minnesota was able just to claw back because Detroit couldn't grind clock, which with their offensive running game, you think they would be able to. But I truly believe that when Detroit's throwing and playing aggressive, they can score. I don't think anyone's been able to slow them down. The Eagles were up 38-14 on them and gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter. Then Washington, they just ran right through. So I think neither of these defenses are good, and I think it's just going to be constant throwing, constant scoring, and I'm just excited. Once again, Detroit's going to continue to pay off for us. I don't know if they cover their 4.5 spread and win this game, but they will run up the score and get me some money in my pocket from the over. Are you still looking at? I'll look up the PFF stuff. I have it on my computer.
Oh, I'm looking it up right now.
All right.
I just want to say we didn't mention him when we were talking about fantasy, but I'm on Russ St. Brown. We did not. I didn't believe in him.
No, when we did wide receiver talk, I think we all shot him down. Like, no way he's gonna keep doing well.
Can't keep doing it. There's nobody else there. Turns out it doesn't matter. The guy just balls, man. Like watching him play. I like the whole Lions team. Definitely, they're so much better to watch when Swift's in than Jamal Williams, but they each play their role.
Dude, I can't. I'm so upset about that.
Okuda.
I'm so upset because he's now all of a sudden like it's a 60-40 split, almost a 50-50 split, almost a Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams split in Detroit's backfield, and it's not even close. That Swift is so much more talented, and guess what? He's hurt now, which means Jamal Williams is going to take even more. So I'm pretty upset about that.
DeAndre Swift. At the beginning of the year, I was like, oh, he's McCaffrey light. And I'm not. Now it's just he's McCaffrey, man. I love watching him play.
So Okuda is currently graded as the 44th corner in the NFL.
Hey, listen.
Not last week.
Listen, we have to look at when he's in man coverage. Listen, I'm going to find you some... Listen, I don't know if you know this, but stats can be skewed, okay? To whichever direction you want to look at.
Yes. Yes, they can support any argument you make. You are absolutely correct. My favorite thing ever is there's like a graph, and it's a bunch of squiggles. It just goes up and down a bunch. And the speaker goes, hey, if we expand the y-axis, we can level out this volatility and make it look dead flat. So essentially, he just made the scale huge, and all you see is a line on the graph instead of all the bumps.
We're going to figure it out. I'm telling you.
All right, 1 sec. All right, while we do this, because I'm going to hunt for it too, Ken, do you have anything else? Any games you want to watch this week? Anything at all? Because I will find this.
PFF grade, Ken, before you go. Ken, hold your horses because we're still on Jeff Okuda. Okay? Versus Justin Jefferson. Okay? 1-on-1. 2 catches allowed. 9 yards allowed. 56.3 passer rating allowed. Get your facts right. Right now, Phil.
All right, 1 second.
Oh.
Well, I need to go and see how Justin Jefferson graded last week to see if he was getting open or if it was and he wasn't getting targets, because he was on my fantasy team, and tell you what, they weren't giving him the ball enough. He wasn't the target leader.
While he does that, one interesting game that I'm definitely going to watch is Bill Belichick versus Aaron Rodgers. And really, it's because the line is 9.5, 10. Mac Jones is down, but it's the Aaron Rodgers. They play to lose. They just do. If they go up by 7 points, they're like, that's fine. We don't care. Their defenses look good. Their offense looks slow. But Bill Belichick does not lose as an underdog after a loss. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I got that right. But Phil hates those stats, but it's true. I don't like to bet against Bill Belichick. I also don't like to bet against Aaron Rodgers. But I'm curious to see how that one goes.
Justin Jefferson was abysmal last week, according to PFF. It's not his fault.
It's covered by Jeff Okuda. Give him a break.
Anyways, okay, so here's why Ken's stat about Bill Belichick not losing. You know why he didn't lose he didn't lose 2 games in a row? It's because Tom Brady was his quarterback.
And he was a good coach.
And he had really good teams. When you win 11 games, think about it. 16 games. If I win 11 of them, and you say, hey, you lost 1 of them, odds are the next one, there's 11 games remaining and 4 losses. Or 11 wins and 4 losses remaining. Odds are the next one is just a win. It's not like his win percentage goes up in games after he's lost. It's a stupid stat.
He's also got to be an underdog in the game too, Phil. That's a very big, important part to what I said. If you were listening and not obsessing over Justin Jefferson, you would know that.
Yeah, Phil.
You're right.
You're 49% of the company now.
You can't take away my percentages.
Yes, I can.
47.
Yeah. You want to go to 45?
Connor, after this, you have to show me where you saw those matchup grids, because I am curious. Anyways, anything you're looking forward to this weekend? Maybe you didn't mention, or fantasy takes, things you're gonna do. I don't know, anything at all.
Stay away from all of the Bears. Every one of them. All of them. I'm sad.
Grizzly, Black, Fields, Mooney.
I just
Polar.
I had an argument with somebody throughout this week regarding is Fields is it Fields? Is it Ohio State? Basically, he was saying Ohio State quarterbacks bust in the NFL, and we were going back to it's not about the school; it's more about talent. People buy talent. People don't buy, colleges and whatnot, and blah 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 blah. But all I know is Fields is an unbelievable talent. If he could get somebody who is not Matt Eberflus teaching him how to play quarterback, then I think he could do well. But because he just has so much talent, or you do what Philly did with Jalen Hurts, and you come in and say, you're our guy, period, we're building the offense around you. What's going to happen is they're going to suck this year. He's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse, and he's going to be a backup probably for the next 5 years, and he's going to be out of the league. That's my prediction now, unfortunately.
All right. So another fun fact with these stupid stats people say, OSU quarterbacks fail. Tell me one school where quarterbacks succeed.
Exactly. That was my other argument was there's no quarterback factories. Picking franchise quarterbacks is much more about people buying talent and then figuring it out while they get in the league rather than, quarterback factories. His big thing was Lincoln Riley and talking about the quarterback factory that's there. Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Jalen up until now was not good. So let's get that out of the way right now.
Baker Mayfield, not a good quarterback.
Do you count Connor, no, real question. Do you count Jalen Hurts as an Oklahoma quarterback, even though he transferred there at the end?
It's like I would say yes, because you have the same question about is Joe Burrow an Ohio State quarterback? Yeah,
that's right.
I say it's the one that he got all of his starting playing time. And yes, Jalen Hurts, you can make the argument he did like his freshman and sophomore year until
he played a lot for Bama, yeah.
Yeah, he played his freshman.
That's why I asked.
But I do consider him an Oklahoma quarterback. Yeah, the reality is, what are you going to say? Spencer Rattler, by the way, transferred from Oklahoma because he got benched. Is he considered and learned from Lincoln Riley? If he goes in the NFL and flops, are we going to see a Lincoln Riley quarterback? Because Lincoln Riley is supposed to have quarterback factories. My point was, if that's the case, then if all else equal, you should just always pick a Lincoln Riley quarterback. Doesn't matter. Just pick a Lincoln Riley quarterback. He's so good. He's the quarterback whisperer. Just pick one. So
that's the other thing I was going to say. 32 quarterbacks in the league. How many? There's probably, I'd say, 15 that roll over each year across 5 years. Yeah. You're really talking about 4 new quarterbacks come into the league a year. I mean, sometimes it's less. Look at this year. What we have, Kenny Pickett. I mean, other guys are competing to be backups, like Desmond Ridder. I mean, he might start some games, but he's truly competing to be a backup based on his physical tools. So when you say there's no such thing as a quarterback school, because it's where's the kicking school, huh? It's the MLS.
Quarterback school, and the quarterback school is different than linebacker U or running back U or wide receiver U. It's one. It's one guy. It is. You got to have it up top, and his whole thing was OSU doesn't teach them to read defenses, so that because they don't have to, because there's so much talent, much more talented. And he, the idea being, I said, okay, Alabama must be a quarterback factory because Tua and Jalen are both killing it this year, and they're both Alabama has more talent than Ohio State. They don't know how to read defenses. Wonder if it's. I said, is it more important to be landing spot and situation? Or is it better to pick college? And he was like, well, it's just equal. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
As a Browns fan, I can 100% tell you, It definitely matters where the quarterback goes.
It's a way more important landing spot than college. College is like 10th or 12th on the list. I'm telling you.
All right. So with that, we're going to wrap up. I didn't even mention that I'm taking Baltimore +3, and it's probably a good thing because it's a pick I really don't believe too much in. I'm writing an article on it, and
You forgot your main pick?
It's not my main pick. I have an article to write on it. I'm required to make a pick, and there's a hurricane coming. So it ruins everything I was going to say about the game. So
45.5.
Everyone in Florida, I hope you're happy, and I know you have it harder than me, but I am not happy about the hurricane because it affects like a couple hours of writing I have to do.
It's ruining 3 or 4 solid football games on Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah, very inconvenient and rude of Mother Nature throw a hurricane our way. This is why all of our games should be in London. They don't have hurricanes.
True.
All right. Thanks for listening, not licking.
All right. So here's the deal. I have to open and close the show now. Thanks for stopping in. Once again, we had a great show. Like, subscribe,
comment.
Give us some information to talk about. We will open the show with it. If you're listening by now, we'll open with it so that you don't get bored when Phil stumbles over his words at the end of the show.
I am sorry.
Thanks, Connor.
I'm drinking coffee because I am sleep deprived currently. So, all right, I'll see you guys.